Listen to me very carefully. Right now, at this exact moment, you have a choice. You can sit there and continue being average, continue living that comfortable little life where you play it safe, where you give 50%, maybe 60% on a good day. Or you can wake up and realize something that will change everything. The world doesn't reward the cautious. The world doesn't remember the people who played it safe. Victory belongs to those who goal. You know what separates winners from losers? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not who your daddy is or where you were born. It's the willingness to put everything on the line. When everyone else is sleeping, you're working. When everyone else is making excuses, you're making moves. When everyone else is going home at 5 p.m., you're just getting started. That's what all in means. That's the price of victory, and most people aren't willing to pay it. Let me tell you something about comfort. Comfort is a slow death. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. You think your competitors are comfortable. You think the people at the top got there by working 9 to 5 and watching Netflix every night. No, they sacrificed. They went all in when everyone told them they were crazy. They bet on themselves when no one else would. Here's the reality. You're going to face obstacles. You're going to face people who doubt you, who laugh at you, who tell you it's impossible. Good. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Because when you goal, when you commit with every fiber of your being, those same people will be watching you win, wishing they had your courage. Your dedication becomes your weapon. Your persistence becomes unstoppable force. But here's what you need to understand. Going all in isn't just about working hard. It's about eliminating every single excuse from your vocabulary. It's about burning the boats so there's no retreat. It's about waking up every single day and deciding that failure is not an option. Not because you're afraid of it, but because you refuse to accept it. You don't have a plan B because plan B is a distraction from plan A. You want to know the secret. The people who win, the people who actually make it, they're not smarter than you. They're not more talented than you. They just refused to quit when it got hard. When their back was against the wall, they pushed harder. When they got knocked down, they got back up faster. When the world said, stop, they said, watch me. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep making excuses? Keep blaming your circumstances, your past, your situation? Or are you going to make the decision right now, today, to goal? Because I promise you this, when you commit completely, when you give everything you have, when you refuse to accept anything less than victory, the universe has no choice but to move out of your way. Listen, I need you to understand something that most people will never figure out in their entire lives. Comfort is killing you. Right now, as you're sitting there, comfort is wrapping around you like a warm blanket, whispering sweet lies in your ear, telling you that everything is fine, that you can start tomorrow, that you deserve to relax just a little bit more. And while you're listening to those lies, your dreams are dying. Your potential is rotting away. Your competitors are moving forward, and you're standing still, wondering why nothing is changing in your life. You want to know why nothing is changing? Because you've made friends with comfort. You've negotiated with mediocrity. You wake up in your comfortable bed. You drive your comfortable car to your comfortable job. You come home to your comfortable routine, and you tell yourself this is enough. But deep down, in that place you don't like to visit, you know the truth. You know you're capable of more. You know you're settling. You know you're betraying the person you could become. Here's what the successful people figured out that you haven't yet. Comfort and growth cannot coexist. You cannot be comfortable and be improving at the same time. It's physically impossible. Think about it. When does your body get stronger? When you're sitting on the couch or when you're in the gym, pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion? When does your mind expand? When you're scrolling through social media or when you're learning something difficult that makes your brain hurt? Growth happens in the struggle. Greatness is forged in discomfort. But most people run from discomfort like it's a disease. The alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and what do? You hit snooze. Why? Because getting up is uncomfortable. Your bed is warm, the room is cold, and your brain tells you that you need just 10 more minutes. Those 10 minutes turn into an hour, and suddenly you've already lost before the day even started. That's what comfort does. It steals your time, your energy, your future, one small compromise at a time. You think the titans of industry, the champions, the legends got where they are by choosing comfort. You think they're sleeping in. You think they're taking it easy. Absolutely not. They're awake before dawn. They're doing the work that others refuse to do. They're having the difficult conversations. They're making the sacrifices. They're pushing through pain, through doubt, through exhaustion, because they understand something fundamental. Comfort is a trap designed to keep you average. And here's the most dangerous part about comfort. It's seductive. It doesn't feel like you're failing when you're comfortable. It feels safe. It feels reasonable. It feels like you're being smart, protecting yourself, not taking unnecessary risks. But that safety is an illusion. You know what's actually dangerous? Waking up at 40, 50, 60 years old and realizing you never tried. Realizing you played it safe your entire life and have nothing to show for it except regrets and what ifs. That's the real danger. Every single day you choose comfort over growth, you're making a choice. You're choosing to stay small. You're choosing to remain stuck. You're choosing to let your potential waste away. And the worst part, nobody is going to save you from yourself. Nobody is coming to rescue you from your comfortable prison. You have to make the decision to break free. You have to deliberately choose discomfort. You have to wake up every morning and declare war on everything that's keeping you average. The uncomfortable truth is this: your dreams live on the other side of comfort. Your success, your wealth, your impact, everything you want is waiting for you in the realm of discomfort. And until you're willing to step into that space, until you're willing to feel the pain of growth, the exhaustion of going all in, the fear of betting on yourself, you will never have what you say you want. Comfort is the price of mediocrity, and mediocrity is a death sentence for anyone with real ambition. You want to know what's holding you back. It's not your circumstances. It's not the economy. It's not your education or lack thereof. It's not where you were born or who your parents are. It's the excuses. The constant, never-ending stream of reasons you've manufactured to explain why you can't win. And you've gotten so good at making excuses that you actually believe them now. You've convinced yourself that your limitations are real, that your obstacles are insurmountable, that somehow the rules of success don't apply to you because of your special circumstances. Let me break something down for you. Every single person who has ever achieved anything significant had excuses available to them. Better excuses than yours. Actually, they had more obstacles. They had less resources. They had people actively working against them. But you know what they didn't have? The habit of using those obstacles as permission to quit. They looked at their circumstances and said, "So what? Watch what I do anyway." That's the difference between winners and everyone else. Winners see obstacles as challenges to overcome. Losers see them as reasons to stop trying. You blame your job. You say you don't have time because you're working too many hours. Really? So every successful person just happened to have unlimited free time. They didn't have to work. They didn't have responsibilities. No, they made time. They woke up earlier. They stayed up later. They eliminated the nonsense from their schedule. They stopped watching television. They stopped scrolling social media for hours. They stopped hanging out with people who were going nowhere. They made sacrifices because they wanted success more than they wanted comfort, more than they wanted entertainment, more than they wanted approval from people who weren't even winning themselves. You blame your past. You say you had a rough childhood. You didn't get the opportunities others had. You started from zero. Congratulations. You just described every single self-made millionaire's origin story. Do you think that's unique? Do you think you're the only person who had to fight uphill? The difference is they used their difficult past as fuel. They channeled their anger, their pain, their hunger into relentless action. You're using yours as a shield, protecting yourself from having to try, protecting yourself from the possibility of failure. And here's what really happens when you make excuses. You're not just lying to other people, you're lying to yourself. You're training your brain to believe that you're a victim, that external forces control your destiny, that you're powerless. Every time you say, "I can't because," you're programming yourself for failure. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways to accept defeat before you even start. That's what excuses do. They don't protect you. They destroy you from the inside out. You want to talk about unfair. Life is unfair. The game is rigged. Some people start with advantages you'll never have. Accept it. Now, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to cry about it? Are you going to spend the next 10 years explaining to everyone why you couldn't make it? Or are you going to get so obsessed with winning that nothing else matters? Because I promise you this, the marketplace doesn't care about your excuses. Your bank account doesn't care about your reasons. Success doesn't negotiate with people who aren't willing to do what it takes. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask this question. If you eliminated every single excuse from your vocabulary, if you took complete ownership of your results, if you stopped blaming and started building, what would your life look like in 1 year? In 5 years? The answer terrifies you because it means you've been lying to yourself. It means you've had the power all along and you chose not to use it. Every excuse you make is a choice to stay exactly where you are. Every time you blame something external, you're giving away your power. You're announcing to the world that you're not in control of your own destiny. And maybe that feels safe. Maybe that protects your ego when you fail, but it also guarantees that you'll never win. Because winners don't make excuses. They make results. They take full responsibility for everything in their life, even the things that weren't their fault, because they understand that responsibility equals power. The moment you stop making excuses is the moment you become dangerous. You know what separates the people who actually make it from the ones who just talk about it. It's not talent. It's not connections. It's the willingness to burn the boats. You want to know why you're not succeeding? Because you've got a safety net. You've got a plan B. You've got an exit strategy. And the moment you have a way out, you've already lost. Because when things get difficult, when the pressure mounts, when it feels like everything is falling apart, you're going to take that exit. You're going to fall back on that backup plan. And you'll tell yourself it was the smart thing to do, the reasonable thing to do. Let me tell you something about plan B. It's not a safety net. It's a trap. It's your brain's way of giving you permission to quit when things get hard. When you have a backup option, you're not really committed. You're just testing the waters. You're dipping your toe in instead of diving in headfirst. And you can't win playing it safe. You can't build an empire while keeping one foot out the door. Success demands total commitment. It demands that you bet everything on yourself with no way back. Think about it. When you know you have somewhere to retreat to, how hard are you really pushing? When you know you can always go back to your old job, back to your old life, back to your comfortable mediocrity, what's your level of urgency? I'll tell you what it is. It's not high enough. You're working hard, sure, but you're not working desperate. And desperate is what it takes. Desperate is when you have no other option but to succeed. Desperate is when failure means you lose everything. That's when you discover what you're truly capable of. The greatest conquerors in history understood this principle. When they landed on foreign shores to battle, you know what they did? They burned their own ships. They eliminated the possibility of retreat. They told their soldiers, we'll win or we die here. There's no going home unless we're victorious. And guess what happened? They fought with a ferocity that their enemies couldn't match. Because when your survival depends on your success, you find reserves of strength you never knew existed. You become creative. You become relentless. You become unstoppable. But you're not burning your boats. You're keeping them perfectly maintained, ready to sail away the moment things get uncomfortable. You're building your dream with one hand while clutching your backup plan with the other. And that divided attention, that split commitment, that's why you're stuck. You're trying to pursue greatness while simultaneously preparing for failure. You can't do both. You have to choose. Here's what having a plan B really tells the universe. It tells the universe you don't actually believe in yourself. It says, I'm going to try this thing, but I'm probably going to fail, so let me keep something safe on the side. That energy, that doubt, that lack of conviction, it seeps into everything you do. It affects your decisions. It limits your actions. It keeps you playing small when you need to be playing all out. You think investors want to back someone with a backup plan. You think customers want to buy from someone who's not fully committed. You think success rewards people who are hedging their bets. When you eliminate plan B, something magical happens. You stop wasting mental energy thinking about what you'll do if this doesn't work out. You stop planning your retreat. All of that energy, all of that focus gets redirected into plan A. into making it work, into finding solutions instead of exits. And suddenly you start seeing opportunities you were blind to before. You start taking actions you were too cautious to take. You start pushing through barriers that would have made you quit. The truth is, most people fail not because their plan A was bad, but because they never fully committed to it. They kept plan B warm and ready, and the moment plan A required real sacrifice, real discomfort, real risk, they bailed. They retreated to safety and convinced themselves they made the smart choice. But deep down, they know the truth. They quit. They gave up on themselves. And they'll spend the rest of their lives wondering what could have been if they had just gone all in. You think success is about being smarter than everyone else. You think it's about having some secret knowledge or connections that nobody else has. Let me tell you what it's really about. It's about outworking everyone. It's that simple and that brutal. While your competition is sleeping, you're grinding. While they're at the bar on Friday night, you're building your empire. While they're complaining about being tired, you're pushing through the exhaustion because you understand something they don't. The hours you put in when nobody is watching are the hours that separate champions from failures. Here's what nobody wants to tell you because it destroys the fantasy. There's no magic formula. There's no secret hack. There's no shortcut to greatness. It's work. Relentless, exhausting, never-ending work. The kind of work that makes your friends think you're crazy. The kind of work that makes your family worry about you. The kind of work that has you questioning your own sanity at 3 a.m. when everyone else in the world is comfortably asleep and you're still going. That's the price. And most people look at that price and say no thanks. They'd rather be comfortable. They'd rather have their weekends. They'd rather have their social life. But you know what's interesting? Those same people will be standing on the sidelines in 5 years watching you win, asking you what your secret was. And when you tell them it was work, they won't believe you. They'll think you're hiding something from them because they can't accept the reality that you simply outworked them. You wanted it more. You sacrificed more. You were willing to pay the price they weren't willing to pay. There's no mystery to it. You bled for it while they were comfortable. Listen to me carefully. Your competitors are not working as hard as you think they are. They're taking breaks. They're making excuses. They're working 8 hours and calling it a day. They're checking out mentally every weekend. They're operating at 60, maybe 70% capacity on their best days. And that's your advantage. That's your edge. While they're working normal hours, you work insane hours. While they're putting in effort, you're putting in maximum effort. While they're trying to maintain balance, you're going completely unbalanced in the direction of your goals. You want balance. Balance is for people who want to stay average. Balance is for people who are content with mediocrity. Show me someone who's truly winning at the highest level, and I'll show you someone who's completely obsessed. Someone who's sacrificed balance for excellence. Someone who understands that you can sleep when you're dead. This is your time. This is your moment. And you're going to waste it trying to have a balanced life. You're going to waste it going to bed at a reasonable hour. You're going to waste it taking weekends off like everyone else. The marketplace rewards the people who give the most, not the people who are the most talented, not the people who are the smartest, the people who work the hardest, the people who are there before everyone else and leave after everyone else. The people who are thinking about their business, their craft, their mission every single waking moment. That's who wins. That's who builds empires. That's who changes the game. And right now, while you're reading this, your competitors are either working or they're not. Which one are you going to be? Here's the reality that most people can't handle. There are 24 hours in a day. If you sleep 6 hours, you have 18 hours to work with. Most people waste half of that. They waste it on entertainment. They waste it on scrolling. They waste it on activities that don't move them forward. But if you captured even 12 of those hours and pointed them directly at your goals with laser focus, you'd accomplish more in 1 year than most people accomplish in 10. That's not an exaggeration. That's mathematics. That's the compound effect of superior work ethic. Every hour you outwork your competition, you're not just getting ahead by 1 hour. You're getting ahead exponentially because you're learning faster, building faster, improving faster. You're creating momentum that they can never catch. and the gap keeps widening. 6 months from now, they won't even be able to see you anymore. You'll be so far ahead that you'll be competing in a completely different league. That's the power of outworking everyone while they sleep. You know what's funny about doubters? They're everywhere. They're in your family. They're in your friend group. They're at your job. They're on social media. And the moment you announce that you're going to do something big, something different, something that requires you to step outside the boundaries of normal, they all come crawling out of the woodwork to tell you why it won't work. They'll list every reason why you'll fail. They'll remind you of every time you've tried before and didn't succeed. They'll tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to stop dreaming, and accept your place in the world. And here's what you need to understand. Their doubt has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. When people doubt you, they're really revealing their own limitations. They're telling you what they're not capable of. They're projecting their own fears onto your dreams. Because if you succeed at something they said was impossible, what does that say about them? It means they could have done it too, but they were too scared. It means they're the ones who played small. It means they're the ones who gave up on themselves, and they can't handle that reality. So instead of supporting you, instead of cheering you on, they try to pull you back down to their level. They disguise it as concern. They call it being realistic. But it's really just them trying to protect their own ego. Let me tell you something that will change how you see criticism forever. The people who doubt you the loudest are the people who have never done anything significant themselves. They're spectators. They're sitting in the stands of life, watching other people play the game, and they think that gives them the right to judge the players. But here's the truth: their opinion means absolutely nothing. Zero. They haven't put in the work. They haven't taken the risks. They haven't earned the right to have their doubt taken seriously. So why are you listening to them? Why are you letting someone who's never won tell you how to play the game? The greatest achievers in history were all doubted. Every single one of them. People told the Wright brothers that humans would never fly. People told Steve Jobs that nobody would want a computer in their home. People told Elon Musk that private space travel was impossible. And those people were wrong. Not just a little bit wrong, completely, embarrassingly wrong. Because the doubters don't understand something fundamental about success. It's not logical. It's not predictable. It's created by people who are so committed to their vision that they make the impossible possible through sheer force of will. So when someone doubts you, when they laugh at your dreams, when they tell you it can't be done, you smile. You thank them because they just gave you fuel. They just gave you motivation that money can't buy. They just handed you the burning desire to prove them wrong. And that desire, that fire, that's more valuable than any support could ever be. Support is nice. Support feels good. But doubt creates champions. Doubt creates legends. Because there's nothing more satisfying than achieving something that everyone said you couldn't achieve. Here's what you do with doubt. You collect it. Every negative comment, every dismissive laugh, every time someone tells you to give up, you collect it all and you store it in your mind. And when you're exhausted, when you want to quit, when it feels like it's too hard, you pull out that collection and you remember every single person who said you couldn't do it. And you use that memory to push harder. You use their doubt as rocket fuel to propel yourself forward. You make their skepticism the very reason you refuse to quit. The beautiful thing about proving people wrong is that you don't have to say a word. You don't have to argue with them. You don't have to defend your dreams or explain your vision. You just work in silence. You let them talk, you let them doubt, and then one day you show up with results. You show up with success. You show up with everything you said you were going to achieve, and suddenly those same people are asking how you did it. Suddenly they want to know your secrets. Suddenly they're telling everyone they always believed in you, and you'll know the truth. You'll remember who was there and who wasn't. You'll remember who doubted and who supported, and their doubt will have been the best thing that ever happened to you. Let me tell you something that's going to sound harsh, but you need to hear it. Failure is not an option. And I don't mean that in some motivational poster kind of way. I mean it literally. You cannot afford to fail. You cannot afford to give up. You cannot afford to quit. Because if you do, you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what could have been. You'll spend decades carrying the weight of regret, asking yourself what would have happened if you had just pushed a little harder, lasted a little longer, believed a little more. And that regret will eat you alive. It will consume you from the inside out until you're just a shell of what you could have been. Here's what most people don't understand about failure. It's not the opposite of success. Failure is just feedback. It's information telling you what doesn't work so you can adjust and try again. The only real failure is quitting. The only real failure is giving up on yourself. Everything else is just part of the process. You get knocked down. That's not failure. That's a test. That's life asking you how badly you really want it. And your answer better be that you want it more than you want to breathe. Because anything less than that level of commitment, and you're not going to make it. You think the people at the top never failed. You think they never got knocked down. They got destroyed. They got humiliated. They lost everything multiple times. But here's the difference between them and everyone else. They refused to accept it as the end. They looked at failure as a temporary setback, not a permanent condition. They got back up. They learned. They adapted. They came back stronger. And they kept doing that until they won. That's the secret. It's not about never falling. It's about always getting back up. It's about making the decision that no matter what happens, no matter how many times you get hit, you're going to keep moving forward. Most people quit at the first sign of real resistance. They try something, it doesn't work immediately, and they convince themselves it wasn't meant to be. They tell themselves they gave it their best shot. But did they really? Did they exhaust every possible option? Did they try every conceivable angle? Did they push themselves to the absolute limit of their capabilities? Or did they just try until it got uncomfortable and then bail? Because there's a massive difference between trying and truly committing. Commitment means you've decided that failure is not on the table. It means you'll do whatever it takes for however long it takes. Think about it like this. If someone put a gun to your head and said you have to make this work or else, would you find a way? Of course you would. You'd suddenly discover resources you didn't know you had. You'd find solutions you never considered. You'd work hours you thought were impossible. You'd push through pain you didn't think you could endure. Why? Because failure wasn't an option. The stakes were too high. Well, let me tell you something. The stakes are already that high. Every day you're not pursuing your dreams, you're dying a little bit inside. Every day you're settling for less than you're capable of, you're killing your potential. That should be enough motivation. Your unfulfilled potential should scare you more than any external threat. Winners have a different relationship with adversity. When obstacles appear, they don't see reasons to quit. They see puzzles to solve. They see challenges to overcome. They see opportunities to prove their worth. When everyone else is looking for the exit, winners are looking for the solution. When everyone else is making excuses, winners are making progress. When everyone else throws in the towel, winners are just getting warmed up. That's the mentality you need to adopt. That's the mindset that separates people who achieve extraordinary things from people who live ordinary lives. You want to know the real reason people fail. It's not because they lack ability. It's not because the goal was impossible. It's because they quit too soon. They were 3 feet from gold and they stopped digging. They were one more attempt away from breakthrough and they gave up. Success was right there, waiting for them on the other side of their discomfort, on the other side of their fear, on the other side of one more try. But they never found out because they decided failure was acceptable. Don't be that person. Refuse to be that person. Make the decision right now that you will not quit until you win. Victory is yours. It's already yours. It's waiting for you. But you have to be willing to claim it. You have to be willing to pay the price. You have to be willing to go all-in. No more half measures. No more, I'll try. You either do it or you don't. And if you're going to do it, you do it with everything you've got. The choice is yours. Make it count.